Anime is a vast and varied medium, and if you're not already familiar, it can be daunting to find something you might be interested in watching. This is a podcast where three average anime enjoyers introduce their uninitiated co-host to their favorite anime touchstones, so he can join them deep in the Weebs. This week, we watched some anime-ass anime. Aggretsuko. We watched 2 episodes from Season 1 and 4 episodes from Season 2. Overall show summary, Aggretsuko, also known by its original Japanese title, Aggressive Retsuko, is a Japanese animated comedy streaming television series based on the eponymous character created for the mascot company Sanrio. It's a Hello Kitty.
I absolutely forgot that this was like a direct Sanrio related production.
Oh, did I not mention that? Oops.
No, I just forgot. Like, you look at it and you go like, oh yeah, okay, I see it. But I don't know. I maybe that's a good sign because I feel like, you know, I remember it for being its own thing, not for being a Sanrio product.
Mm-hmm.
What is Sanrio?
They're the company that made Hello Kitty and all of those cute characters.
I can honestly say I have never seen Hello Kitty. I've only seen the products. And it always confuses me because I'm assuming she has a mouth. You never see her with a mouth, so I just picture her being a telepathic cat.
She was a Gundam once.
Oh.
Yep. So was Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I don't... Like, the core of Sanrio stuff was like, we have this mascot, it's Hello Kitty, it's cute, let's put it on and in everything, right?
Yeah, they are specifically a mascot company. Like, they make cute characters. That's what they do.
Yeah, so like, if you've seen the product, that is the thing what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Hold on. Wait, can we introduce Bob to a new word now if we're talking about the word cute in relation to anime? Can we use the word?
Sure.
Oh, God, all right.
Wait, I have a guess. Is it Hawaii?
Here you go.
Yes.
I'm so
I think
proud
I've heard
of you.
that somewhere.
I'm sure you have. I have no doubt because it is so prolific in just culture in general at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Why desu ne?
But yes, the character first appeared in a series of animated shorts between April of 2016 and 2018. And then the anime series adaptation was launched on Netflix in April 2018, followed by 3 more seasons in subsequent years. And the 5th and final season is set to debut February 2023. The show consists of 15-minute episodes about Retsuko, a 25-year-old single red panda working in the accounting department of a Japanese trading firm, trying her best to navigate through the typical problems encountered by young adults in the 21st century. Facing constant frustration every day from pushy supervisors and coworkers, Retsuko lets out her emotions by going to a karaoke bar every night and singing death metal.
Yeah, these episodes, the death metal karaoke didn't come up that much, except for like, it was her like meditation room where she hung out with her friends, and it was just like, it's like, hey, I need advice.
I need to, congratulate whoever got the distribution rights. Well, I guess Netflix, for avoiding just renaming it Single Female Red Panda. Just because, like, it's been there the whole time in front of me, and I never considered that.
Okay. I'm the one who did this. Who watched the dub and who watched the sub?
Dubbed.
Okay. There was a moment where I actually considered watching the sub just because, like, this is definitely one of those shows, like, because it's mascot characters, because it's, everyone is like, it's all people you know, but in the sense that everyone is a caricature. I think there are some voices that, like, the stereotype plays clearer in the Japanese dub than they do in the American dub. Like, there's specifically, and we'll get to her, but my girl Feneko.
Fuck yeah.
My spirit animal.
She is amazing.
Yeah, oh, okay, good. We're all in agreement. Good, excellent. But the way that she plays as like very like monotone and like staccato, is that the word?
I would call her Daria.
Yeah, she's Office Daria without the
Right.
nihilism.
Well, so like she's like that, but in the Japanese dub, the way that they play her voice is she's almost like a little more rapid fire. Like she kind of sounds like a typewriter in the way that she talks. So a lot of that, like she comes off as more like, I'm just going to go ahead and say autistic coded because I love to point that out everywhere I can. But like she's definitely played more as like, no, this is like, I am sounding like I'm being like, kind of sarcastic about everything, but that is just the way that she is. That is how she approaches everything. And it's little things like that. Like when we get into the hippo mom, I actually kind of want to go back and see how that voice differs because that's
it's a good sub version. The sub is also good. That is what I'm trying to say words
Yeah.
of. Because I did watch it once out of curiosity early pandemic because I'd already been familiar with the first season. So I was like, let's see what this is like. And it's still really good. The death metal is both you still get the vibe from it and it still comes through.
Yeah, I would argue that as this show is more exemplary of anime, as I said, in that it's dealing a lot with a Japanese culture, and you have the more exaggerated like reactions and stuff like that. I feel like watching the Japanese voices, if you're not already kind of familiar with Japanese culture and like the stereotypes and stuff that appear, it may be harder to read it as well.
like a bit more. You're kind of taking in more things that you're unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
Like, okay, do we just want to start going through the episodes because I have more specific things to point out about that.
Yes,
All right.
let's do this. So, do we want? We're doing the summary again, right?
Yeah. So, the season 1 episodes we watched were episodes 6 and 7, Stoking Rebellion and The Duel. At work, Retsuko keeps on getting abused by Director Tone, which is her boss, and other superiors, though she notices how Tsunoda easily gets along with the boss. So she decides to hang out with Tsunoda one night at dinner, asking her for tips on how to make up with the boss. The plan backfires when Retsuko makes up to the boss at the wrong time. Hearing about Retsuko's troubles, Washimi uses her connections with the company president to help her out. Thus, that night, the president gives Director Tone a warning. Tone is secretly not happy about it. The next morning, he acts uncharacteristically nice, scaring all the coworkers in the accounting department. Tone wants to find out who reported him to the president. And that night, at an office party, Retsuko hopes she can clear the air with Director Tone, only for Tone to determine that it was Retsuko who had him reported. During a karaoke duel, Tone raps about how useless Retsuko is, and Retsuko, almost in despair, finally unleashes her rage form and responds with death metal, knocking everyone out.
Super Saiyan. So, Bob, tell us. Do the thing.
Yeah.
Do the thing.
Walk us through what's stuck with you. How do you remember this going?
I enjoy, obviously, Fineko. Oh my goodness.
Fineko, yeah.
Fineko.
Her character is strong. I appreciate any time she interacted. The deer. Once again, names eluding me.
Yep, that's Tsunoda.
Thank you. I was going to have this down.
Tsunoda is just a weird character because I don't know that I hate her completely.
Can we, if you can't remember her name, can we just call her Jane Doe? Because that seems perfect.
Oh my god, I'm so mad because I forgot her name for the first 2 episodes. I'm like, the Fawn. And I'm like, and then I called it the Fawns.
Fawns?
Mm-hmm.
This first episode.
Jane Doe.
Yes, Jane Doe. She is very, like I said, I don't know that I like her, but that's her whole purpose.
She is a character. A believable, real character.
Yeah.
But when Fineko finds out that Retsuko is hanging out with her, she gets all upset, and then Retsuko's like, no, everything's fine. And Fineko's like, okay, that's interesting. I trust you. Director Tan is probably like the worst character that we have all met in our life.
Yeah, that's
probably a grand scheme for the whole series, my favorite thing is because this really is, you can identify with this life completely.
You've worked with these people
You
at
have.
some point.
Absolutely.
Tone is absolutely that boomer boss. Like in other episodes, you will see him. He doesn't work with a calculator. He works with a literal, actual abacus, and he's faster that way. And he is a real artifact of real life artifacts.
The part where they're at the party and he's, straight up saying the thing about like, hey, when I was, the young one in the office, the bosses were even harder on me. So like, I'm hard on y'all, but like, I still had it worse. And it's just like, okay, so you're one of those, like, it was tough for me, so it's going to be tough for you because that's just how it is. Yes, like, God, I know every one of these people in this show.
I've worked with you all.
There's the wolf dog.
Haida.
Haida's a hyena.
I feel bad for him. He's so awkward. That's appreciable. I feel like I feel more Haida than Tsuko. The show.
Yeah.
I feel like that's more the role I inhabit. Yeah, I've actually seen the first 2 episodes forever ago. And so seeing the heavy metal pieces when she's at the karaoke bar there versus these episodes, it's like he does go all out. But in these 2 episodes, not as much. You get to meet the gorilla and bird people.
Gori and Washimi.
Oh, yeah. I love Washimi.
Yeah, Washimi.
So, Washimi is a washing bird, right?
She's a secretary bird.
But she's a secretary bird. Are those the same thing, or are those different?
I am not a birdologist.
An ornithopter? Wait, hang on.
Yeah, I'm not an ornithopter. I was not invented by Urza.
She's the best. She's so strong. Like, I don't know if I like her or Feneko more.
I would say, that is my...
She straight up crushes that display at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want water noodles?
Well, not only that, it's the boss's write-off that he can get paid for from his own company. Oh, that's not an embezzle. No.
What?
No, it just doesn't take his shit. I love her.
She's the shadow president of this high school council.
Yeah, they're good. These are all good characters because I will keep saying throughout this whole thing, you have worked with these people, you have interacted with these people at all times. Even Feneko, for being that kind of Daria-esque character, that stoic kind of passive rebel against the cool kid in the office,
and for being the only one that you would really want to hang out with outside of work.
But even she has that little twinge of like, you can't hang out with them, you're my friend. It shows for like a minute, and then it goes away. It's never a real problem in the series, but it's just we've known that person's like, I'm super cool, don't you dare leave me.
Reminds me of a little bit of like who's the one from Night in the Woods with the knives?
B?
I know.
No, not B, the leather jacket one.
Yeah.
Greg?
Greg.
Be gay, do crimes.
Yeah. Gives me some Greg vibes, and I love it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is the correct answer. But yeah, that's it's such a good show for all of that. It's
not just good with, like, again, characters who are caricatures, but so
identifiable,
relatable. But even with like the way that you see them interacting, I was like, I've seen these things play out in the office. Very specifically, after Tone gets reprimanded and he's doing his nice act, the way that everybody goes to the break room kitchen to like hide and just be like, I just need to be in the kitchen for a minute. I need any excuse to be in here. It's just like
I need to not be on the floor right now. Why? I'm scared.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, and you're absolutely right. They've captured whoever created this show, the actual original creator of this, and I failed to look that up, but I was thinking of it last night. Like, you have worked this office job. You have been here. It's essentially you taking your real life experience and just change. Dragnet. We've changed the name to protect the innocent.
Yeah. I was thinking a little bit while I was watching, because there's another show, a Netflix original anime series, Dragon Pilot. Are you familiar?
The name sounds familiar, but I do not believe I've watched it.
It's about dragons that dress up like jet fighters. It's a whole thing. There's girls.
Wait, is that the Dragonvore one where they eat the pilot?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, I know of it from Beej and Ian and listening to them talk.
Yeah, okay. But so I watched that show because it sounded dumb, and I love dumb.
Sure.
And it was like, that was also a show where like the main theme throughout was about like being a young adult, and that like transition into like overcoming your fears and stepping into like adult shoes, and sort of like having the courage to take on responsibilities, and like the courage to allow your life to change. Which is also super strong in this show. Like, honestly, if Retsuko's 25, that honestly seemed like a little old for some of the themes that she deals with. And especially getting into the later arcs when we meet. Oh, it's in my notes. What is his name?
Tonda or Anai?
Not Anai. That note just says yakisoba. All right, that's good.
The guy at the DMV?
Tadano, yeah.
Tadano, yeah. I was gonna say, I know where he's at in my list. I just gotta find him.
Like, the way Tadano is absolutely just like a neat, still doesn't have his driver's license, and just hanging out. Like, they make the point of like, oh yeah, we're the same age. To know that that's like 25 and not 22 is like, early 20s is such a weird age, because like everything from like 16 to 22, 2 years is a world apart for that whole age range. So it feels like there is like a weird little difference between like, oh, okay, you maybe should have dealt with these by not only are you all like dealing with this, but maybe have hung on to it like a little longer than would be accepted, is normal. I don't know what the word here is, but
so there are themes of that I want to address when we get to that arc, because that's the other reason I kind of picked of it. Also, this tells me, but I need to confirm, you didn't watch past that second arc, did you?
I did not.
Okay,
I watched like the intro of the very next one, because I'm just like, the stuff with Anai, it seems like it's like, I couldn't tell. It's either like they're gonna call it resolved and we're gonna move on,
resolved.
Or okay, well, like it gets resolved, or it is resolved there.
It's more or less resolved there.
He has a little more like character development, but yeah, it's mostly resolved.
Him being a problem, that's why I chose that second arc, because like this essentially encapsulates the I have to deal with this guy arc. And or what I call, I won't say that in case people I know ever actually listen to this, because I don't need myself in trouble. But I will say, when it comes to Tadai, there is more than you realize going on, and all I will say is your read is both 100% accurate and 100% wrong at essentially the same time.
Curious.
Yeah, I was with when, and I know we're skipping ahead here.
Yeah, he becomes more of a character.
Well, you learn how he occupies his time outside of the DMV, and that's all I will say to that.
Wait, to Anai or Tadano?
Tadano.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Tadano. And you'll learn about how he occupies his time, and you will learn, let's say, you're 100% right and wrong about him.
Okay.
You've got his attitude pegged, but not his actual existence.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That was interesting. That's right.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so Bob, I guess to bleed into the second part of this first arc we watched, because that is the lovely thing about this series. Every episode just kind of seamlessly is knitted
Moves
together
on.
with the next one. Yeah. So as we talked about the resolution of it, we go to the bar, the after work gathering, which, show of hands here, and I'm sure I know in this group who's going to say it. How many of us don't want to go to the after work get together with our coworkers because we'd rather go home?
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, yes, but we did have it was a very good outlet for us to complain about our bosses and the work, so
Well, so that was the thing, like, there were a couple of holiday parties that we went to because I was like, yeah, make the company pay for a meal for me. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. But it was always just like, okay, we're not going to go, hang out at the company event, but we are going to down the street all meet up at the company event where like the boss isn't there and it's just everybody at like the lower level throwing their own event, and like, yeah, that was the better one to go to.
That one I would see myself going to, but I'm talking about the one where your boss goes to because the company's doing it, because unnamed employer of mine cares.
also this is a very Japanese thing to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the whole salaryman thing is very big in Japan.
Yeah, I absolutely shared Hadai's opinion. I'm not going, no way. I'm like, the missing piece of my spirit animal. But Bob, so what do you think about how that wrapped up and how Retsuko outed herself?
I really appreciate Retsuko because once she gets to that point, she's going to let go. She's a very mild character, or at least that's how she displays herself to Tan.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice to see reaction there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's very anxious and a little naive, but she has a core that like won't give in to being pushed around.
Exactly. It's nice to see her stand up, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It was really interesting because like I kind of fully expected Tone to like have it pegged as Retsuko who blabbed on him. So the fact that like he has this earnest moment of them talking and he's like actually opening up and like is being introspective, that kind of hit me out of nowhere. It's just like, wait, he's not just gonna like stink eye Retsuko every moment, even when he's playing nice, because like how does he not know that the one he picks on the most is the one who complained about him? Like that is like
I think it's a mix of like he's just generally like that, but also I think he specifically picks on her more because he does see her as good at her job and is like, it's his way of like pushing her a little bit.
He just goes about it wrong?
Yeah.
In his, I think to bridge that gap, I think he sees himself as doing as Joe describes him, but he's still an ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
he thinks he's helping. He's not.
Because I feel like after this little arc, you do get to the thing. Because like the fact that he picks her to train Anai later is just like, okay, yeah, no, you know, we're getting something there. But it's just like, yeah, no, you're reliable. But like just because you're like I think and this is me again, like psychoanalyzing just that genre of person that we all know, but it's like yeah, no, I got picked on at some point, so this is just what you do, whether not because it's out of like some personal grudge or anything, but it's just like, no, you pick someone to pick on because that's you need a weight event and it's gonna be at somebody's cost. Not necessarily even as like a failed motivation attempt. It's just gotta pick on somebody to make it through the day.
Yep, for sure.
I wholeheartedly agree. But yeah, he's I feel so bad for her because it is a time worn trope of the character who did the thing doing such a good job at hiding it until they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I love, though, how it was written. He that, and again, we've seen this before, but just the way he's animated responding to that, because he's just kind of still, and you're wondering, did he catch it? And then he does that just cold serial killer turn. It's like, I never mentioned the CEO. And you can just, as those words utter, you hear every fiber of hope Retsuko had about not being found out snap. With every syllable, with every letter uttered, and it's just, oh no, we're at war. The bombs have been dropped. But their showdown is so good.
It's good. Right before we talk about Tan's rapping, the other thing I was noticing, it's interesting that this is like a major theme of the show is like sort of like growing up and sort of like moving from, you know, like school world to working world, because watching a lot of the interactions in this show just reminded me like, oh right, like the kind of like high school drama dynamics never actually end. Because, you know, the way, you know, Tan and Retsuko go, it's like it's very clear that it's just like, if I were like, when there's, you know, I could have fully expected if Retsuko was going to ask Washimi to not say anything, because as soon as, you know, Tan gets reprimanded for picking on somebody, he's going to be, the person who I pick on clearly tattled. Now I'm going to make her life worse in response. Like, that is like such a tried, rough. It's weird. This show is so relatable for the good and the bad. And it's weird how like so much of this is bad. It's just like, yeah, no, I have felt all of these pains and tensions that they're going through in this show, and it's just like, wow, they're doing a really good job. I'm feeling uncomfortable watching it.
It's like, who handed me this mirror?
How dare? How dare you say the truth?
I feel so called out.
But then the big pig does a rap. How do we feel?
Bob, what'd you think of Pig Rap? Or what was it? The Pig Gun. Oh, that comes later. The Pig Guns. Damn it.
I am not the biggest rap fan, but he was very powerful. I don't know. He's very direct. That I do appreciate.
I guess, did you like the presentation? I'm not asking necessarily if you like the rap, because rap's kind of a hit or miss thing. Like,
presentation was fine. Didn't hit it for me, but it was fine. Oh no, I really like the heavy metal piece, so it's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little weird. These two arcs, like, they both resolve with like musical portions, but both are actually like veering away from the heavy metal.
And that kind of happens more as this goes on, though there is kind of an exception in season 3. I don't want to give anything away in case anyone wants to watch that later, but it's not heavy metal. It's narratively relevant, though.
Sure,
I will say that. But yeah, I love that there was a showdown, and I love that it was 2 different styles of music that they threw at us.
That is true.
It's like, oh, we're gonna get pig heavy metal. Wonder what that's gonna look like. No, he's going for rap. Like, that is nothing what I would have expected from him, but it still works because of that rap battle style.
It's that weird rap battle style where I think, okay, disclaimer, I'm very white, but I think it is more hip hop than like actual rapping, just because of like the very like meter and bar structure of it. It's like it is the exact same structure as like Mad vs. City from that one Jackbox Party Pack.
Yes.
Where it's all couplets. And so it is extremely like, oh yeah, this is like white boy YouTuber rap. Got it. Which is like which again is funny, is appropriate. This guy thinks he's cooler than he is, so he's going for this. But then it was a cool turnaround because like the heavy metal, the music went heavy metal style, but the structure actually matched that sort of rhyming couplets thing. So like, no, the metal was actually still being a rap battle in a fun way.
For an anime put out by the company that brought you Hello Kitty, I did not expect something on this level of quality for something that wasn't Hello Kitty. And it's so good for that. It really is like, there's so much attention to that kind of detail and that little bit of nuance in it. That's so good. I just can't not say that.
Then by the end of the duel and everyone's going to sleep, it's like, okay, knocking out.
Yeah.
I did appreciate the host. Y'all want anything else?
That's a total party kill is what we saw there. It's a TBK if I've ever seen one.
Someone rolled nat 20 on their rap battle, X heavy metal battle.
Oh, God.
So Arc 2... Oh, I'm sorry. Did we have more thoughts on this one?
Nope. Bad joke. Not worth it. Let's go.
Okay. So Arc 2, do we need the descriptor still for that? I swear I was paying attention earlier.
Season 2, we watched 4 episodes. Episodes 2 through 5. The New Hire Anai, Double Moratorium, Unavoidable Impact, and United Front. The company hires a new worker named Anai, who at first glance seems nice and eager. Director Tone appoints Retsuko to train Anai. During work, Retsuko teaches Anai how to do the work, but he is completely nervous and keeps making mistakes. Retsuko comments on his performance, but Anai takes these words as a personal attack. He begins writing constant passive-aggressive emails to Retsuko, claiming that she is abusive and demanding that she reply to his accusations as soon as possible. Tone berates Retsuko for Anai's lack of progress on the job, but Retsuko tries to hide the fact that every time she tries to lecture Anai, he blackmails her by recording her voice. She keeps on getting emails from him, demanding written answers to his accusation. When she meets with Anai inside the archive room, Retsuko finally blows her top and shows him her metal face. Anai sends a fax to Director Tone about how Retsuko abused him. Fearing for herself, she resolves to try running away by learning how to drive. She signs up for a driving course in hopes of getting a license. At work, the company is planning to host a Family Appreciation Day event. Each department will plan to contribute something to the food stalls. Unexpectedly, Director Tone appoints Retsuko to work with Anai to prepare the stalls for the accounting department. This is a nightmare for Retsuko as she wants to be as far away from him as possible, so she chooses to do the stall work alone. Haida realizes what Retsuko has been facing with Anai. Retsuko and Feniko are doing their best to keep Anai under control. To everyone's surprise, Kabe is able to get through to Anai by treating him in a motherly fashion. At Family Appreciation Day, the accounting department's yakisoba stall is not doing well because Retsuko is not a good cook. Until Kabe convinces Anai to cook instead. Anai turns out to be an excellent cook, and the stall becomes a runaway success. With this experience, Retsuko makes peace with Anai.
One thing we didn't really mention here is Shirota, which was a possible suitor for Retsuko from her mom.
Yeah.
Really kind of a type C.
You mean the Photoshop bear man?
Yeah.
But really, there's a lot of type C lines. This felt like a story all about Anai.
Yeah.
Retsuko's dealings.
Dealing with that new hire that's also a problem.
Yes, that's I have not encountered this type of person at work, fortunately. I have stated from the beginning that I don't train people, and this is why. Because they are a reflection of you, even when they're bad.
Let me tell you, I have been management at one point in my life. Way too early in life, to be fair, but I have been. And I fight that idea of this is a reflection of you. It's like, no, man, if you give me a hand grenade, I cannot make this a cheeseburger. I cannot change what it is. It is a hand grenade, and that guy is a psychopath.
Yeah,
I cannot fix him.
That's more getting into the level of boot camp, where it's like, first we need to destroy the personality that's there. Then we'll build the personality that we need it to be. That's Boot camp is not like learning to work at the bank. Sorry, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Aggretsuko gets blamed for Anai. And Anai is, just this side of blackmailing her with threatening messages. This is actually where it almost becomes a serious show, but still keeps its comedy to it.
So this is where I'm going to peel back the curtain on my real life, and this is why we're not going to name names or the pretty nasty company I work for. About a year ago, we had someone come to the team for the institution I work for. They are very incompetent. There's no other word for it. They don't follow rules like they should. They kind of make up things as they go, and because no one on their direct oversight, has any desire to really address it, because it would also mean that they're not doing their job if it really got addressed like it should be. It continued. So this person does not do their job correctly, to the point where they received a promotion over the trainer and myself. Now there's a whole nother story behind that we are not going to go into.
Oh, that's always the worst when like the person's not new to the company. They've been with the company, so like they have a sort of like seniority, and rather than get rid of them because they've been there so long, the people just like promote them out of the problem.
Well,
yep.
To this point, though, the real angle I was going to get at is they publicly said in one of our meetings some incorrect information regarding a policy and procedure that was vetted by legal, and I corrected them just out of the goodness of my heart, and that ended up not getting ignored. And this person kept saying they knew better because they'd been with the company for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I am just like, you know what? Here, I'm going to put the correct procedure in chat. Anyone can take it or leave it. I have said my piece. I've done all I can to prevent an accident or a legal complication. And I admit, I entered the words, here's the correct procedure.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't think of anything of it. The next week, I got called into a meeting with my direct supervisor, and we're close enough, we can be direct with each other. And they said to me, has accused you of attacking them in our team chat, because we work remotely, and on several occasions contradicting them whenever they say anything, to the point of being belligerent intentionally. Now, myself, my direct right hand, the training supervisor, and my manager, this being my supervisor's manager, our department manager overall, have reviewed the logs from the team chat. There is nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
This person who is now a supervisor that accused me is now up to their neck in it, and that's all I'll say, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a big fallout here soon.
Hey, good. I love to hear that.
This person has continued on and caused other people problems because they are so hypersensitive. They are so allergic to any kind of criticism, that everyone is the villain in their story of the hero.
Yeah, they take it as a personal attack, a personal assault on their like morality or whatever.
Because of course they can't do anything wrong.
So
Yeah.
I would like to read you the notes I created for some of these anytime Anai showed up. It starts off with just new guy Anai, then Anai sucks on ice. Where is it? I hate that I have to currently do work with an Anai. Everyone starts off thinking Anai is okay, until Anai isn't. And then just constantly, it's like, just Anai in all caps every time he shows up. This was the most stressful watch. And I was okay when Anai was not on screen. The second Anai showed up, I just went into a rage every time. I just could not stand it.
I'm sorry, that is a very triggering character, because he's very, once again, what this show excels at is being generic enough and yet specific enough that everyone knows all of these characters in their real life.
Yes. Like I'm very much with you. Some of my notes at the end of this is just fuck this child.
Mm-hmm.
The one where it just all caps, yeah, patterns of behavior. When and then when he pulls the same trick on Haida, I just have again all caps. Now you outnumber him. Just kill him.
Destroy the child.
Pretty much.
It's like I'm over here and I'm just like, nope. This requires a more direct solution at this point. You did not seek assistance when it was first a problem, so now we have to fix it.
There at one point, I forgot it was Kabai that ends up being the one that can get through to him. I was honestly trying to rack my brain the whole time, like, what is their nuclear option? Because as soon as they sent in the pig guns, which is my favorite pun in the world, and they just set Tone on him, and Tone has no power here. I was like, what's going on? I just there is that like very real depressed feeling of like how do we handle this? We can't win. There's no surviving this. Oh
yeah, there's some other cool stuff to talk about in this arc, but like yeah, the core thrust of it being Anai is just like it is so real and just so like my blood pressure was up this entire time because it is like so real and so stressful and just like yeah, it's rough. It is. Usually you like it when a show really resonates and you can vibe with it, but this was just like, why'd you have to vibe with this part of it? Work sucks, I know. Yeah, no, we all agree, but
But why, God? Why?
You meet all the side, and it's not even supposed to be the main story, but I wouldn't say it's a problem for me, but it was distracting is how much a nice storyline kind of drew away from everything else. Like we meet Tanada.
yeah.
He goes to driving school.
Yeah.
There's so many other things. It's like, what's going on? What else is happening? That's always where my head was.
Yeah, the Tadano like introduction is like part of like a longer arc.
Yeah.
And then you also have Retsuko's mom showing up and doing the Japanese mother thing.
Yeah, playing matchmaker constantly. It's basically the start of Mulan all over again.
Yeah. And let's be honest. I know if I heard you right, Joe, you said it's kind of like a Japanese mother thing. It's not just a Japanese mother.
Oh, sure.
Oh, I just like, this got real. But I feel bad for Retsuko because her mom is essentially setting herself up or setting her daughter up with incredibly false expectations by consistently photoshopping the images of the men she's setting her up with. And it just, that just seems so extreme to me. I cannot fathom that.
Again, that like very upsetting realism of everyone is messing things up, at least in some small believable way. It's just like, it's like, okay, I see your intentions, but you're going about this wrong and making it worse. Let me just bite on my wallet for a while.
Nice. But Bob, what'd you think about the blind date, the initial blind date?
Oh, like it was cute, I guess. The conversations that they had, and then the walk away of, we don't want to get married, and then finding out later that's not the case.
Yeah, that was a weird, like, but also, how much of that is also like the two moms saying what they want to hear because, that it's, I mean, the fact that, it's the her mom calling to tell her what the update is and not talking to the guy himself. So it's just like, oh yeah, so he's also doing the same thing. He's not really in on this. Like, well, you're lucky you got along for that weird encounter, but like,
yeah, Bear Man,
big bear man. He's good.
He seemed like a nice enough guy, and I did like that he and Retsuko, at least at first, appeared to be on the same page, like being nervous about going into life, and that feels in and of itself very relatable. Maybe not as much as my 30s anymore. That's a whole new kind of existentialism. But when you're in your 20s, it's like that transition from child to adult and figuring out where life goes because no one's necessarily holding your hand anymore.
Yeah, and figuring out that balance between like the expectations that are put on you and what you actually want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it got. I was just gonna say that felt very relatable. Like I was flashed back very hard to my up to the point of I think my mid-20s at that time. I was like, oof, that's a thing. But so Bob, tell us more about the story.
Well, continuing on with the not much to go on further for the Shirota story. That kind of just ends with the following episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then
it does. I feel like that could have become like an interesting like platonic relationship to have, like to give Retsuko's character like this sort of like not like a kindred spirit because they don't even are interested in dating, but having like somebody who parallels. Like it seems weird that might turn into Tadano from what I'm hearing, but like this idea of just like, yeah, no, we're kind of in the same place, we're being treated the same by our mothers, we have kind of similar opinions on stuff, and like that could have been like a cool character to keep around Retsuko, even like sort of almost like not as a relationship in order to spite their mothers. But maybe that's just my wishful thinking. That's on my Christmas list, I guess.
It was also on mine the first time I watched it. I'm like, maybe they can just be cool friends. Maybe this can just happen. But yeah, and I don't know what you're talking about with Tadano. I'm not telling you anymore. I don't know. No, all I'll say is Tadano gets more interesting. But and then Tadano, that guy at the DMV who apparently has been doing this test for some time.
He's different. Compared to the rest of the characters, he's just the cool one. Yes, like not cool like an awesome, but just
laid back,
unstressed. Or
like,
yeah, like he has stresses, but his reaction isn't to tense. His reaction is just like stressors bounce off him like water off a duck's back, which is weird because I think he's like a donkey or something.
He's a donkey.
Yeah.
Okay.
For what it's worth, he's not an ass.
Oh, interesting.
Do you all have your licenses?
I just got my newest license after having been in my new state of residence for months. Yeah, and I got the paper one. And so I'm waiting for that to come through. But yes, otherwise I have a license. Bob, do you have a license?
Any
do have a license? I did not have a license for I would say 6 to 8 years. Moral of the story, it's not even speeding or anything, just pay your tickets.
Yeah. Yeah, pay your tickets and make sure to answer your mail. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, how about you two?
Yeah, I got mine, but I don't drive. I just I figured it was a good idea to have it for emergencies or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really drive.
I've been driving since I could reach the pedals, legally or not.
I respect that the most, honestly.
Okay, most of the time it was, go-karts and parking lots, but that's
fair.
I've probably spent more time moving on wheels than on my feet.
The dream.
Yeah.
I will say the whole driver's license like subplot had me thinking, God, and even when I was like, God, I wish America had actual walkable cities so we didn't have to have so many cars.
Oh
so
yeah, and that's the thing about like
a car.
One of their discussions was like Washimi and Gori don't have their licenses because again they live in Tokyo, so they don't really. It's like living in New York City. Like you don't really need your license because everything's within by the train or walking distance or whatever.
Yeah, so honestly, I think the driving school sort of subplot could have I I don't know how much longer it goes on, but I feel like it could carry a whole arc on its own because like, and maybe because of the Tokyo and both being a Japanese and a big city difference, but like when I was talking about there's like weird high school vibes through a lot of these arcs, just about like drama, but also like very specifically the feeling of I want to get my license so that way I can drive away from my problems is, I feel like, an extremely high school vibe. And like maybe it doesn't need to be if you're in Tokyo because you can go out and start doing adult things and take on responsibilities without needing a car, but like especially American suburbs, it's just like if you're anywhere like even like just outside of a city, if you don't have a car, you are either reliant on others or stuck.
Yeah.
And so like the fact that it's weird that it's like they're not leaning into it because of that, but the fact of that there is this she explicit that I wrote it down because when she's talking with the, by the way, pigtailed dog receptionist at the driving school, good character design.
Yeah, love it. My only complaint with should have been a sloth because a certain movie was already out by then. How dare?
Here the line is Retsuko says, or she asks like, why do you want to get your license anyway? And Retsuko just says, life sucks and I want to flee.
That was replies, also in my notes.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
that's a good life lesson right there.
Yeah.
Well, to that point, think about it from this angle, because when I do not remember that the first couple of times I've watched that season, and so watching it this time, I'm like, huh. To your point, Nick, and as well, Joe, is like there's that growing up phase that theoretically some of us are out of by our mid-20s, late 20s. Because Retsuko lives in an area where she hasn't needed a license, perhaps getting the license allows her to achieve some kind of physical object that gives her a sense of freedom she didn't realize she wanted or needed in her life prior. By having the option to flee by car if necessary, that does open up a greater sphere in the world to her other than just her immediate surroundings.
Yeah, I mean, even in high school, like I know most of my friends who got their licenses like as soon as possible were doing it because it gave them that freedom.
Yeah, there's a sense of like, I think when you have like public transport, it is like, okay, this is a tool that I can use to sort of navigate and take care of responsibilities and do a lot of pursue personal goals and whatever, and that's fine. But there's something about having a car that says actually I can get places like the train already being there is like a tool you're making a use of, whereas a car is like, this is mine. I have total control over this. This can take me places that,
I am
my
free.
choice. Not so it's like with the train, I can go anywhere the train goes, but it's sort of the train's choice where the train is. It was not I'm not setting these destinations. I'm picking from given options. Whereas a car is like, I am setting my own. The car is the right in answer, where the train is the multiple choice.
Mm-hmm.
And they sort of allude to that specifically too, because I think it was like right before that same line she's talking about it's like, oh, did you are you planning on moving out to the country or something? Because like, yeah, no, once you're out of the city, that's when you need a car. So it's like yeah, no, living out in the country is a different like culture of how you interact with your space and a sense of like the range necessary for life. This sentence got weird, but I hope the message is vaguely there.
I think it came through pretty clearly. Yeah, it's a different way of life when you live far from everything as opposed to being in the center of it. Yeah. And especially in a culture, in an environment where you've always been able to just get around via public transportation and your own 2 feet. The natural response is, you're getting a license. Oh, you must be moving to the boonies.
Mm-hmm. It's like, really? Your life is about to need more than is currently being provided for you, huh?
Mm-hmm. And that's why I just watched that, like, that I could see is like she is finding that there are other ways of attaining her freedom, because in season 1, it's referenced in those first 2 episodes we watched that she has considered getting married for the specific means of not having to go to work for someone she loathes and treats her terribly, not necessarily for love.
Yeah, fleeing again. Honestly, like getting married was her first choice of how to escape. Driving is the backup plan.
And it's one of those, like, I don't think she considered driving until this season narratively required her to. But I mean, how many times have any of us had that moment? Like, well, here's the solution. Like, there's actually these other ones that, if you really stop to think about it, you could use and still leave you in authority of yourself. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, and I kind of like that for the characters. Like, I'm finding a way to still be me without having to give up who I am to find freedom.
That's a very, like, most characters are oh boy, words are failing me. Give me 2 seconds. But most characters are this sort of, one character trait, one personality focus caricatures. And I think, if anything, that's Retsuko's is, she has this sort of, as much as it is the, like, work face versus karaoke face, it's maybe more this idea of she is kind of myopic, where she's like, okay, this is the one solution I have thought of because it's the only one I've thought of. It's the only one that might as well exist. And she has trouble, like, thinking of the, other possibilities, other solutions. Like, because even with the marriage to get out of it, to, dealing with Anai, to dealing with driving away and escaping, like, a lot of, even, in some way dealing with the dating stuff, it's just like, no, I'm not gonna date and get married. I'm not going to do it the way you're doing it. I'm going to do it my way, even though I don't know what it is. Like there's a certain element of she is so stressed that she can't see past the tip of her nose, and it is sort of like her, her journey, her arc is about learning more of, like, the scope of her agency, and that's I think that's her one character trait.
It's absolutely relatable too, which makes it, again, a great depiction.
Yeah.
It's, again, something I wouldn't have expected from the manufacturer that brought you Hello Kitty.
Or that what's that one crocodile, Big Feelings?
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know big feelings.
I wish,
makes me sound cold.
Big challenges.
Big challenges. Thank you.
Good. Good.
Hey, I might have to start doing
in the chat.
Can we give all the homework per episode?
Start doing bespoke thumbnails so I can put stuff like big challenges.
We can have a notes section for the podcast.
Ooh.
Also,
all right, but somebody else has to write it.
Sure.
Okay, all right, done.
Oh, okay. Joe volunteered first. I was actually going to say, I have this great idea now, though, thanks to you, Nick. Mm-hmm. If we ever do merchandise, we will absolutely have to have a shirt that says, "Get your karaoke face on."
Yeah, that's good.
Or, "This is my work face. This is my karaoke face." Those would make great face masks for a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, what have I done?
So we had another example of some very Japanese culture in the festival that they put together.
It's the yasiyoba, or the noodles.
Yakisoba, yeah.
Right.
Stew.
It's talking about
Bob.
anime as anime.
Mm-hmm.
This goes back to high school vibes because they're just doing like a Japanese high school cultural festival.
Yeah,
thing.
I was gonna say, like, these kinds of festivals where, like, every group, every classroom is responsible for a booth of either food or of like fair games. Comes up a lot in slice of life high school anime.
Here's my question, betraying for as much as I love and I've tried to study of Japanese culture, is that something that actually persists into their work environment? Because I know, at least, again, for the company I work for, they have tried such things here pre-pandemic.
Yes.
That was just like a work picnic, which I've been to, but they don't have stalls.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea of having employees run parts of it is kind of weird. Usually it's just like, yeah, we're gonna have some food trucks come in and we'll hang out.
Then you go there, you get your food, and you go back to work.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I feel like, I think when they showed the like after work drink party, I think that is more of the Japanese style thing. I don't know if they do festival stuff so much once you get hit the working world.
Okay.
I actually got this weird read that like this was done specifically to invoke some more like high school vibes between so like Bob, you were saying that like the Anai stuff and everything else were kind of at odds and like fighting for attention, but I do think
now they blend together.
Or they blend together
A little bit.
Well,
yeah,
I think
you see him.
Yeah. I think there's a sense of it is all tied together in the sense that we are dealing with like these different levels of like points of aging, because we have Anai, who is, the solution to the Anai problem was treat him like a child, is you bring in a mommy for him and suddenly he's not a problem anymore. So you have this like young childhood thing. We have the food stalls and the learning to drive are like a very like, teenage high school kind of moving on points. And then we have the dating world as another like growing up point. So it's this big jumble of these whole different like it is time to grow up touchstones. So like they all kind of are thematically, aligned, but it does kind of feel like a big jumble, like they're fighting for like which one are we focusing on right now?
And by the end that's jumping ahead. I felt bad for Tsuko for having to build this stupid stand, especially since it's going to be the second stand.
You mean the second yakisoba stand?
Yeah, because Monkey Lady was making the other one.
Okay, so I was googling because I was just checking like how common they are, and I mean they are used a lot also for festivals and stuff, so it's a very common throughout the culture. But the very first thing listed on the common foods is yakisoba.
Oh
yeah.
So the fact that there was more than one
is like it's definitely a thing that like everybody does.
I love that Gory has her own information network, and it seems to be the worst informed one, because what was it? I forget what he was, like a goat, I think he was, or a lizard of some kind.
Something like that.
Pops up behind her. There are 4 other stands. So like, how did you not know this if you have an information network?
Which like,
I have to stop reading this list. It's making me hungry.
Yeah, no, we've said yakisoba enough now that I'm hungry and need to go make noodles right after this.
Yeah, I have steak coming later, or making later, and I already want just ramen or yakisoba.
I want okonomiyaki so bad.
God.
Oh, don't you say that.
I love gnocchi yoki yummy in my tummy.
When we have our first live show at a convention or something,
oh my god,
we just have like a buffet.
I've had sushi, but it's American sushi.
So it was like tuna with mayo?
No, I've taken him to a good sushi restaurant at least once that I can think of.
I can think of that was across the street, right?
Yeah, but that was still an authentic Japanese restaurant. I mean, it was named Kyoto.
Yeah,
how much more authentic can you get?
How common is Japanese food in Michigan?
It's more than you think.
Actually in Kalamazoo, but I no longer live in Kalamazoo. I have a Asian delicatessen that is so fancifully named China Garden.
Listen, I'm in Tennessee now, and in Kalamazoo when I was there, we had at least 5 places. One literally in walking distance.
It was a good ramen shop.
Oh god, there was. That was on the south end of the town. Yeah. Ziki. Oh, I miss Ziki. But we had 5. Where I'm at in Tennessee, we're just flush with them, which south of the Mason-Dixon completely surprised me.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have expected that.
That's something to learn.
I will say, though, at least between Michigan and Tennessee, and I'm sure it's other places too, more commonly than not, many of them have just the same name. I can't tell you how many Ichibans and Sakuras I've run across.
Okay, that makes sense, though.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's just like, wow, I didn't think I would actually see another Ichiban.
Well, because Ichiban is like number 1, so it's like
true.
So it's like famous Rays and Rays famous if they're all just named Ichiban.
I mean, oh no, have I just been eating the famous Rays of sushi? But it's so good.
It's good.
But yeah, no, Bob, if we ever get to a live show, we are sitting you in front of bowls of various types of noodles that are not ramen.
I can't wait to murder some names.
Oh, hell yeah. It's the best part. It's the best part. You want some Negomayaki?
No, I don't even know. That sounds like a disease. I don't think I caught my shot for that one.
I think it's something I teach my black mage in Final Fantasy.
We could tell you whatever we want it is, and you'd have to believe us.
But I digest. Taki, I guess. The dance yakisoba.
Yakisoba.
You're
very
yakisoba. Yakisoba stance.
Soba specifically is buckwheat noodles, basically. It's just refers to type of noodle, and then yaki is you also get like takoyaki and ikeyaki.
Yeah, I think
yakitori and stuff. Like it's just a word that means like.
Okay, yakitori just sounds like
grilled.
A person.
Yeah. So it's grilled noodles.
Bob, you were saying about yakitori what?
Exactly. Whoever that dude is, I'm sure his movies are great.
Well, Bob, I'm glad you didn't capitalize on takoyaki because it has nothing to do with actual tacos as you know them spelled with the letter C.
Taco is the word for octopus.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've had it once.
Takoyaki or octopus?
I've also had soft shell crab sushi. That's actually really good.
That's really good.
Ooh. Okay, we
need to stop with the
talking
food.
Stop talking about
Okay,
food.
It is unanimous.
This whole episode is pretty much about Aggretsuko working by herself because Anai's being the jerk that he is, not helping out at all, and Gory working with single possibility that she can to have a good stand as they're having their appreciation day that the CEO thought of. And it's like a decent episode, and I like the ending because suddenly there's more people in the Anai world that assist Aggretsuko.
Yeah, we did gloss over. We mentioned earlier, and at the same time glossed over like how every single person in Retsuko's department tried to deal with Anai and consistently failed until okay, Kabai. Keep wanting to say Yabai. 2 different words. Kabai. The mother, the literal mom, comes in and says, and just as Nick said, handles him like a child, and then it works. And through that same token, she learns he likes to make his own bentos, and that's how we save the day for Retsuko's stand.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, first off, my first reaction in my notes was, why weren't you just a chef?
Mm-hmm.
You clearly have a talent.
Because he wanted to make a lot of money.
I want to make a lot of money too.
No, I know, but he specifically said when he was talking to I forget who it was, but he was just saying he's like, why are you here? Because he's like, I want to be a high paid accountant.
I thank God every day, or whatever's out there, that I never fell for that kind of mentality. And honestly, let's be completely frank. If he's really that good of a cook, he'll still make a lot of money. So, but I can see, to your point, where his vision was a little narrow on that. But he is apparently this grade A cook to the point where Retsuko serves up what can loosely be called yakisoba, and Tone's little piglets, which I forgot he had.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that they look just like him, including his wife.
The girls have the same voice.
Yeah.
The same voice, the same. They have the little piglets have pigtails.
God, yeah.
I'm so happy about this. This is just the visual pun of it all. Oh, love it. They go bad mouthing their stall because it has terrible food. And the first thing Retsuko thinks after trying Anai's yakisoba is, take this to the children.
Mm-hmm.
Set the propaganda machine ablaze. And they did, and it worked. And it's all because the mom in the office, and let's be honest, every office tends to have one, was the most sympathetic, empathetic person because she can't be bothered by it. She has children. And to be fair, her children, while initially giving me the shudders of, oh, they're just running around everywhere, are still fairly well-behaved children.
Mm.
And it kind of takes this character who in the first season, I don't remember them giving her too much to do.
No, she's just the chatty one in the office, basically.
It gives her such an amount of depth, and throughout the series you do get more of her depth, and it's really good. But it's a good moment to kind of give her the spotlight in a very subtle way, this background character, as well as be the solution to this gross office problem. And it turns it around to where, okay, Anai can make the money he wants by literally selling lunch at the work commissary, as long as the boss doesn't see. And they do that college, high school thing. The you're selling something you shouldn't be. We'll say cigarettes. Oh, here's teacher's coming. Everyone act cool. Act cool. and
it was soda
love
cans in my school.
In my school, it was the kid who came in with a garbage bag full of Twinkies every day.
There was a lot of things sold at the Catholic high school I went to.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, not drugs, but just a lot of things.
But yeah, like coming at it from the other angle too, like considering the fact that he's like Anai's just out of school, transitioning to this grown-up life. Like I imagine he just mentally kind of still needs that like structure or motherly touch of someone he can feel like is telling him what to do.
Can see that.
Well, was he just out of like high school or was he just out of college?
College, I think they said.
There was also
because I imagine he had to get the degree to be an accountant.
Yeah. There's also something there about the like in the cold open of one of these episodes they show him like making his own breakfast.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it's something about the way they filmed it. Like it would make, some sense that he lived on his own or whatever, but the idea of just like he seemed like he's somebody who's been like living on his own for a long time. So if you want to tell me that like, okay, there's the secret dark history behind Anai where like he was raised by an only father or something and never had the mom, and that's why he's like scary or like so scared that he becomes like aggressively defensive to everyone, and the only one who can get through to him is the mom who babies him. Like I could kind of see that, but I guess they're not doing any of that.
No, see, I took that opening. I interpreted his apartment being so barren and empty that he's brand new to living on his own.
Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily thought of it as him being brand new, but either way, I did see it as him being alone in his life. And that kind of isolation in and of itself can breed a degree of sensitivity, because if you don't have a lot of human interaction, you're not going to have a good meter to gauge when someone's just giving you a generic criticism that is not harsh or malicious, just food for thought.
A criticism, just a correction.
Yeah, but even to that point, it is a critique of his work. Thus, sorry, dictionary me took over. Stop it, Dad. But either way, yeah, he doesn't know how to handle any kind of feedback, and so he gets immediately defensive. So, for what it's worth, the third way of seeing it is he's alone. Regardless, new or old, he's alone. And, if you're alone enough, you can go to some dark places, as it looked like he was often going to on his own alone as he cooked his apparently great bento box.
Yeah, as soon as it hit 8 a.m., he disassociated.
Yeah.
Like that's actually... I had to take a break from watching this arc because it just got too real. But the thing that it made me like get up and say is just like, I am very grateful that I have, people in my life that I can just like go to and share these things. Because the thing about it is, Anai and Retsuko both have a similar problem in this situation, which is that they are both involved in this situation, right? Like the support that comes from just having a third person who is not, someone who is taking offense or being threatened or feels defensive, somebody who is just out of not participating in the situation, so they have like a steady head about it, and you can like sort of bounce ideas off them. Having a person like that in your life is such a like sanity stabilizer. And I think in this situation that we're watching, like neither Anai nor Retsuko really have that. Like Retsuko's got people in her life who would do that, but she's got that myopic thing, and she just tries to figure things out on her own, or just gets scared, and like she's in it, she's stressed, she doesn't think clearly, she doesn't ask for help until Haida also is in her situation. She's like, finally I have somebody. Like Haida would have helped at any point. Haida begins helping her before he's under it, and like she just, I don't know if she doesn't want to burden him or just doesn't think to ask for help, but like that they are both having this sort of like the problem of they are in it, and neither one of them have the voice, a voice of sanity at their side,
I don't suppose anyone here has played Life is Strange, the original Life is Strange game.
I have.
Okay. Crap, I can't think of his name, but you remember the young man who was hitting on Max, our main character?
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying to the same degree, but that's Haida. Initially, he gets better. And in fact, by the end of the first season, he's essentially better. It's addressed, and thank God for it. But that's essentially him. He is absolutely head over heels for Retsuko, but doesn't really know that terribly much about her when he starts off.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just become cool, chill friends. And to your point, Retsuko is kind of, from the way I have observed it and what I took from his, and then maybe I read too much into it, to be fair, both trying not to burden him with her problems, but also I could see on a kind of more subtle level, kind of not wanting to involve him and avoid any potential, misreads of her behavior. Not trying to seem reliant on him or going to him for anything other than just help.
Maybe I could see that.
And like I said, I might be reading into it, but as I remember, it was awkward for them initially when he tried to ask her out, and she just really wasn't into it.
Yeah. But
yeah, I think mostly it's just that Retsuko is very much one of those I don't want to be a bother types.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because we do have the whole dating side arc where it's just like, oh no, she's probably like she definitely like has no problem with Haida, but what she does have a problem with is the idea of dating and the idea of like committing to a relationship. So like I could see it like, it is that, but more for that reason than anything else.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's definitely, though, there is that gentle side of, no, I'll figure a way to handle this. Like, no, let someone help you sometimes. It's okay.
Yeah.
But, and to be fair, by the end of this, we see a hugely negative problem, which everyone can relate to. I would be hard pressed to believe anyone that says they weren't resolved. Which is honestly the dream.
It's a dream.
And through this, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I wouldn't say that it's tied up neatly, but it works out.
Mm-hmm. And Anai, as Joe mentioned, it does show up for a few more episodes, kind of in the background, but he's not a problem going forward.
I think it's more smooth over than resolved. Like, okay, I know I'm this guy on every episode. I'm this guy in life, but like, I did not buy like any of this resolution, honestly. Like,
well, also keep in mind 15-minute episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't seem to me like a fully resolved, but it definitely seems like it's providing him an avenue through which to get over the things that make him so defensive and scared.
Yeah. And I admit, I'm using the word resolved loosely. It is, the problem is more or less dealt with. Not necessarily resolved, but he's not a problem going forward. Is it a little fast? Yes. Is it 15 minutes? Yes. This is one of those times I'll pull out the yeah, sure of it. Yeah, sure. They have 15 minutes to do this. They did really good for a 15-minute format.
But also, it's not 15 minutes. This was 4 episodes. That's an hour. They spent 4 episodes on this one conflict. Again, I think the idea of Anai is so fresh-faced and maybe has something else going on just in terms of like isolation in his life. Because like this kind of person isn't just somebody you find in the workplace. This is like, they were making a comment about it that like, no, a lot of the young people these days are like this, where they are, super sensitive to things and, they overreact to things. And like, yeah, I can kind of see that being a true thing because, just where we are in society. And like, there has been a lot of like, oh, we are now aware of things like gaslighting and, what abuse looks like in different forms. But there's also that like, everyone now knows enough to be dangerous and to sort of like misuse the information and over apply it. It's the new hammer. So like there feels like there is something real there, but like to spend, I think the thing that got to me is like Anai never apologizes.
Yeah.
Like he never apologizes, and for the way that it's like, oh, we see this one person where he doesn't react like this one person that he actually responds positively to. Like, there's nothing shown that is like, oh, she gives him something that lets, that lets him, be able to interact with other people without being defensively. Like, nothing is really given to him. Nothing is really resolved. He doesn't seem to change. It's just like, oh, he has this one person who moms him, and then he has his musical interlude, which again, the fact it's not Aggretsuko's song, it's not heavy metal, but it's this weird like house music set with him again rapping over it, which is just like, all right, cool. I actually thought that if I didn't hate him so much, I thought that music, his song is actually pretty sweet.
No, I agree with you. And to be fair, I would say, as you describe it more, I feel that all of your criticisms about it kind of give it a sense of reality, because how many times when we in real life run into something like this, or God forbid, this kind of situation exactly, does it ever truly get resolved where you get an I'm sorry? It's just kind of like, listen, it's settled.
Yeah.
And we have to accept that.
Or honestly, like, even if no apology, it's like, for how like disturbingly real all of this feels, it's like, okay, this is not how this story ends. It's either he can like, if there's not some sort of like happy ending where it does resolve here with a bit more work and self-discovery, whatever, then it's like, okay, then there's actually 2 more episodes where now, everyone has found out, oh, what's her name again? I keep forgetting it.
Which one?
The hippo, the mom.
Kabai.
Where like suddenly everyone realizes, oh, here is our, we brought out the pig guns, those failed, but here's our ringer, here's our strategist. It's like, we have Kabai. So you have this sort of continued development of, okay, the rest of us are going to kind of go through Kabai to see if we can warm Anai up to everyone else, and then maybe it smooths out. Like I feel like you can still kind of get there where it's like, okay, nothing ever really got fixed, but he stops being a problem. Like, it takes another episode to get there, and like, I can see it just, this doesn't sell it. And you can say, oh, 15-minute show, they're going to do that. But like, again, this took 4 episodes to cover this one conflict, and then you cheap out with the 15-minute ending explanation at the end, it didn't sit right with me. Like, there's a version
That's
of
fair.
this
I
I could
agree.
buy that is longer, and it's just like, oh, if you were going to end it that way, this should have been a 2 or 3 episode arc, not 4. My blood pressure was driven up for way too long if you're not going to resolve it well.
And I agree, and I would have appreciated more myself. am I giving it a lot of, well, I won't say a lot, but a fair amount of, yeah, sure, yeah, I am. I agree with you, and honestly, with what you've described, I would almost want now them to go back, redo the series as 30-minute episodes, and give that fleshing out more to each of the situations, because it would benefit, honestly, from it.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, the show, the seed of the show before it was this series, it was a bunch of shorts, and like obviously, just hard day at work, metal karaoke at the end of it. Like, yeah, that's not going to carry you for 4 seasons. So like, of course we're going to go somewhere, and what they decided to dig into and sort of present is like, oh, we have some office interpersonal relationships, and we're going into some real stuff, and these are characters and relationships that are really, like, they really resonate. They are familiar to a shocking degree. So yeah, it I don't know. I think it just seems so out of tone with the rest of the show. It's like, hey, here's something that resonates so much, and here's this really, like, and we're gonna go hard on this one. Then it's just over. Like, we're gonna say this character does this happens, and then it is over, and I'm just like, no. For everything you do right, it was weird how mishandled this felt to me, at least. But then again, sorry, I'm so...
No, you're fine. I was just gonna say, I will say this too. Looking on from my part, having the benefit of seeing where the show goes from here, I will say, in retrospect, this does definitely have that sophomore year vibe of trying to figure out where you're going with your show, because the idea of dealing with a fairly intense, blood-boiling subject. And then you get to season 3. I'm not going to go into details. They do it better. It's different. It's not necessarily in The Office, but it's different, and it goes hard.
Is it again like that very real, very like, hey, you're gonna recognize this, and it's gonna be one of those, like, you probably have bad memories associated with it. Let's dig in. Is it like that?
Have you ever been an idol?
Well, I've played a lot of video games.
But I guess where I'm going is, some of the darker side of idol stories you hear?
Yeah.
Buckle up.
Boy. And but again, they do it in sort of like a, hey, we're not gonna, like, we're gonna show this in a way that you can believe, so it feels harsher, right? Like, that's see, that's interesting. Like, I don't want it to sound like I'm talking down on the show. I respect a lot of it.
No, I don't think you are.
That's why this one moment, like, calling this a resolution, just felt like, you're better than this.
I agree. Is it truly a resolution? No. They have the producers and directors and so forth consider it resolved. And I guess what I'm seeing here is, I see they were trying to do a lot and test. In my opinion, they were testing a lot of things in the season and seeing what they got the better response from. And I believe they definitely got a response from this part.
Yeah.
Boy and howdy. And that's kind of where I think they went with the direction they did in season 3. I have nothing to substantiate that but my own personal beliefs.
Sure.
But again, seeing how that worked out, like, they figured out that if they're going to do a heavier subject matter, they've got to do more other than, and then all was well. Because I will tell you, season 3 has repercussions into the beginning of season 4. Which
cool.
Gives it validity. And that's why I say this was them just, in my opinion, probably them just testing to see if they could do it. Did it deserve a better ending for this arc? 100%. I agree with you on that.
Okay.
But again, seeing where they went, they were testing their feet, and I think they figured out what they wanted to do, and they learned from it.
Yeah, if honestly, like, if I can believe that they can do this well, so if they come back and they do a similar thing and handle it well this time, like, good, great. I don't know if I can handle watching that, but mad respect.
Let me tell you, it takes a lot to get me uncomfortable, and there were parts of season 3 that towards the end, I'm like, jeez. I need to walk away for a minute. I need to walk away and do anything happy.
Wow. All right.
Bob, I heard you start to say something, and I'm sorry.
Oh,
What'd you
just me with Anai. I kind of was thinking that they're shooting for he's going to get fired. That never happened, and I have to agree with Nick. It was like retaining someone who is actively aggressive.
Yeah, like as soon as they brought Tone in, and it was like, oh no, he can't do anything about it. It's like, he's the manager. Like, this gets escalated when it gets to that point. But it is that weird, like it's like he's doing that scary thing where like he's saying, hey, I feel threatened, and it's just like, okay, yeah, you're kind of being irrational, but also you're using all of the language where we can't quite fight. The version of this that happened in my life, I'm still way too close to. I think that's why I also was just like, no, tell me how this ends well. I need to know.
Yeah, I'll say with what I'm dealing with, yes, this is like, I need to know. I need to know this has a resolution, not just, and then it was all better. So I'm like I said, I'm with you. I'm reining it in a lot, but I'm with you.
Yeah. All right. Is it time to
The thing?
sum up? Well, I mean, there's the question.
Yeah, Bob. You know the question.
I actually have no idea what I would commit to as a crime if I ever had Mentos in my life.
I'm so happy. I was waiting for you to do something silly, and you did it. And I'm so don't disappoint, buddy. Let me tell you, I love it. Would you watch more Aggretsuko?
I actually enjoy the show. I only knew of one season to know that there are 2, 3, and 4.
And
will
5
continue
coming next year.
Yes, that's right. And 5. I would continue it. Maybe not at the level of, and I forgot to tell you guys about Cowboy Bebop. Maybe not at that level.
Yes.
So,
Can we do a Bebop update segment then?
it's going good.
Okay.
I've only actually watched a couple episodes so far, but that's more than I would say of any other show we had watched at that point.
Okay.
Overall, it's good. This show, Aggretsuko, maybe I would watch after. This one is a weird one for me because I kind of have an office job and I know all of these people, but I already lived that life.
Sure.
Well, let me recommend you, if you want something that is sort of resonates with the ideas of, growing up, there's this other show on Netflix called Dragon Pilot.
Oh my god. Yeah, Bob, you can relate to being eaten by a dragon and flying it as a fighter jet.
Oh god, that show.
Which reminds me. Remind me after. Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. Real quick. Remind me after the podcast. I got a story about dragons. And that's we'll go there.
Okay.
Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
The show being only 15-minute episodes, though, does make it highly digestible and like easy to just kind of put on in the background too while you're doing other stuff.
I agree.
I will admit, this is the only time I've really cut it down to the wire on my doing my podcast homework, and this was so much easier than Bebop would have been to do. I like at the last second.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's very like. Season 1 especially was way more of like a popcorn kind of show. It's just like, oh yeah, this is a good snack. This is digestible. This is fun. But like, okay, I think this is the only bits of like beyond season 1 that I've seen. It's just like, oh, okay, we're getting heavy. I don't know if that's gonna be weird. Okay, this popcorn show got dark. Weird.
I think the best way I can put it for a show that I've watched here in America is MASH. It started off as super comedy.
Oh.
Then they added a lot more seriousness to it while still trying to keep it a comedy.
Oh.
I'm having Nick's reaction. I'm just kind of the cat with the flower, the gift for the cat and the flower on its head, and it sees the galaxy. I'm kind of having that moment right now.
Oh, that's good. Hey.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Do you know a story about the theme song to MASH?
I know the theme song to MASH. Yes.
Okay.
That's my brother's favorite song. That's his happy song.
Oh,
it's not a happy song.
That's not a happy song.
I know, because when he showed me the film MASH, and I heard that, I'm like, oh, we need to talk. Y'all need a hug.
I love the part of that story where it's like, yeah, no, we wanted the most like edgelordy, morose song. So we got, the director's like 14-year-old nephew in high school to write it. And it's just like, yeah, no, he did it right. All right, perfect. It's like, oh, we want it to be so dark it's funny. Get us an actual 14-year-old.
Peek behind the curtain when I was, my dad introduced me to Johnny Cash real early in life, and eventually I found out about Hurt, the best cover of a song, Fight Me. And that was kind of like my go-to. I'm feeling really down. And then I found the MASH theme. I'm like, this is the song. As an asthmatic with allergies to cigarette smoke, I would absolutely, if I had a bad enough day, sit out in the rain, smoking a cigar, inhaling deeply, listening to this on repeat. That is the Dark Day song.
Oh boy, yeah.
Well, I have some good news, Bob.
Up.
This was the last show in the first tier, which means you're graduating up to the daytime Toonami tier.
Time Toonami sounds like stuff I would know, maybe.
You might.
I know.
You might.
I promise you've heard of one of these shows because I've tried to get you to watch it.
Okay.
But we get to do the fun thing.
Yeah, now we have 3 new shows for you to choose from.
Okay.
We have If It Weren't for Carcoon Killing Me, I Wouldn't Be the Protagonist I Am Today. We have Peace and Love and Tiny Little Donuts. And we have The Gang Steals a Rock'em Sock'em Starship.
I both love and am a little sad that you didn't choose the alternate title for that because it's so accurate.
As we have discovered, we are all hungry, so I will go with Peace, Love, and Little Donuts.
Yes!
Very good choice.
All right.
This is going to be so good for you in ways you don't even know.
This is... Boy, the order we're doing shows in is so wild, and I am here for it.
Yeah, I've never been so... Leave me on this crazy train. I'm all about this.
Okay.
All right, so next episode, we will be watching Trigun.
Oh, that sounds like a guy who has 3 guns.
You're right.
It does.
Just say, you're not wrong, Bob.
Seems very impractical. Is it just like carrying one around while he has 2 in holsters?
Bob,
Oh,
wait till
I
you
guess
find
we'll
out what
have
the
to
third
see.
gun is.
Wait till you find out about Millie. Wait till you find out about Oh no, what's the other one?
Wolfgang.
Wait till you find out about Wolfgang. No, Wolfwood.
Wolfwood, yes, sorry, Wolfwood.
Nicholas Wolfgang Puck, the priest. What?
You'll never look at Traveling
What?
Priest the same way.
Here's the thing. I wasn't making too much of that up. Oh god. All right.
I didn't think you
They're
were making
happy
any of
little
that up.
donuts?
There are
No,
donuts.
there are.
There are donuts.
There are,
donuts.
and you'll understand it. I think we have to at the very. We'll discuss this later.
Yeah.
That we have to at least make him watch a very specific episode for the donuts.
I feel like I can think of like 3 good episodes to watch. All right.
All right, so that'll do it for this week. I don't have more to have a sentence prepared. Sorry.
Well, that's been Bob, that's been Nick, that's been Joe, and I'm also here.
And I just pushed the button for the outro to begin. So, from all of us here, see you next time.
You have a good day.
Later.
Deep in the Weebs is a show by Chuck, Nick, Joe, and Bob. Our theme music is Kawaii Friends by C. 3. You can find our show on YouTube, or subscribe to the audio-only version on iTunes or wherever podcasts are served.